Today's story is from an Indian black comedy crime thriller film titled Andhadhun. A word of caution, spoilers ahead. The story begins on the outskirts of Pune, where a farmer is frustrated by a hare damaging his field. He grabs his gun and chases it. Just as he takes aim, a loud gunshot rings out, and the screen cuts to black. In another part of Pune lives a gifted pianist named Akash, who appears to be blind. He lives alone, cooks, cleans, and manages everything by himself despite his disability. But not everyone buys it, especially a local kid who is obsessed with proving that Akash isn't actually blind. The kid constantly sets up traps and tests, trying to catch him slipping, but so far, nothing's worked. One morning, after the usual mischief from the kid, Akash visits a music store. He shares that he's planning to move to London soon for a job at a popular pub. The store owner praises him for not letting his condition stop him from chasing success. We're then introduced to a former Bollywood actor, Pramod Sinha. He lives in a posh neighborhood with his much younger wife, Simi. Despite their age gap and public criticism, Pramod is clearly happy in the marriage. Apart from Simi, his only close family is his daughter from a previous marriage, Danny, who visits occasionally but doesn't live with them. One afternoon, Akash is crossing the road when he gets hit by a scooter. The rider is a girl named Sophie, who feels terrible about the accident. She helps him up and then, as an apology, invites him to lunch. Over lunch, she finds out he's a pianist and offers him a chance to play at her father's restaurant. Later that day, Akash goes home and takes off his sunglasses. That's when the truth is revealed. He isn't blind at all. The foggy glasses were part of the act. He believes that pretending to be blind sharpens his musical creativity. He's been living this lie for years, using it to fuel his career. The next day, Akash arrives at Sophie's restaurant and performs for the first time. The crowd is blown away, especially because they think he's visually impaired. Coincidentally, Pramod Sinha is also there and is equally impressed. With his and Simi's third wedding anniversary coming up, he asks Akash to perform a private concert at their apartment. Wanting to keep the performance a surprise, Pramod lies to Simi, saying he'll be out of town. Though annoyed, she accepts it. That night, Rain forces Sophie to stay over at Akash's place. While changing into his clothes, she believes he can't see her, and Akash pretends not to look. The chemistry between them, which had been building, finally ignites. They end up spending the night together. In the next scene, Akash arrives at Pramod's apartment to play the surprise concert. Simi opens the door and tells him to leave, claiming her husband isn't home. Akash insists he was invited. When a nosy neighbor sees them at the door, Simi reluctantly lets him in. Akash starts playing, unaware that he's about to witness something horrifying. While performing, he spots Pramod's lifeless body lying on the floor. Shocked, he keeps playing, pretending not to notice anything. Simi believes he's truly blind, so she tries to stay calm, thinking she has time to deal with the situation. Later, Akash walks into the bathroom and sees the dead body up close. Still pretending to be blind, he steps inside, only to discover that another man is hiding in there. Keeping his cool, Akash urinates in front of the man as if nothing is wrong, then returns to the piano. A flashback reveals the truth. Simi was having an affair with this man, right under Pramod's nose. On being caught, they panicked and shot him dead. While Akash continued playing, the killers cleaned up the mess and stuffed Pramod's dead body into a suitcase. Then Simi pretended to talk to Pramod, trying to make it seem like he had returned home. Akash played along and left after saying goodbye. Outside, he had to sit down for a moment, shaken, trying to process everything and decide his next move. He was approached by a local lottery ticket seller named Saku. She offered to help him by calling a rickshaw. The rickshaw driver, Murli, recognized Akash as a regular and took him to the police station upon his request. Akash had decided to tell the police what he witnessed. But just as he was about to speak, the head police inspector, Manohar, entered. He was the same man who had helped Simi with the murder. Akash froze mid-sentence and instead pretended he was there just to make a small complaint. After the incident with the cat's murder, Manohar becomes suspicious. He immediately recognizes Akash and decides to accompany him to his home, wanting to confirm whether the story about the dead cat is actually true. More importantly, he wants to test if Akash is truly blind and unaware of Pramod's death. To test him, Manohar suddenly throws a knife at Akash, but Akash doesn't react at all, not even a flinch. Convinced, the inspector quietly leaves. Later, Akash returns to the restaurant where he works, fully aware that he needs to act completely normal to avoid any suspicion. Shortly after, Simi also walks into the restaurant, casually chatting with others and claiming that her husband is away for work, as if nothing ever happened. The next morning, Pramod's death was broadcast on the news as a robbery case. His body was found inside his car near a bridge, with his watch and jewelry missing. Manohar took charge of the investigation himself to ensure the truth never surfaced. For questioning, Pramod's daughter Dani, Simi, and Akash were all called to the police station. Dani looked to Simi for comfort, not knowing that she was the one who killed her father. Akash, afraid of ending up like Pramod, kept quiet about the murder. At the funeral, their neighbor Mrs. Desar, who had seen Akash at the house that day, spoke to a police officer. She had been keeping an eye on the neighbor's apartment and sensed something suspicious in their story. Simi saw her as a threat. So, the next time they were alone, Simi pushed Mrs. Desar off the balcony, killing her. Unluckily for Akash, he witnessed it again. But for the second time, he had to act like he saw nothing. He rushed home and called Sophie, planning to finally tell her everything. What he didn't know was that the nosy neighborhood kid was secretly recording him at the same time. Before Sophie could arrive, Simi came to Akash's home, offering him sweets from Pramod's funeral. Akash stayed alert and invited her in. As he turned to make coffee, he saw Simi wearing a ghost face mask. She was trying to spook him and catch him off guard, hoping he'd accidentally reveal he wasn't really blind. But Akash gave no reaction. While they talked, Simi pointed a gun at him. That's when Akash broke down and confessed everything. He promised he would never tell anyone about the murder and would move to London immediately. Suddenly, he feels dizzy and falls unconscious. It turns out Simi had drugged the sweet she offered him. When Sophie comes to visit, the kid shows her a video that proves Akash isn't actually blind. Furious, she rushes to his door, only to be greeted by a naked Simi. Pretending she slept with Akash, who is still unconscious, Simi successfully manipulates the situation. Heartbroken, Sophie storms off. Akash regains consciousness hours later with a strange sensation in his eyes. He tries to open them but realizes he can't see. He has actually been blinded by Simi. Now, even if he tries to tell the truth, no one would believe him. What if he says he only heard the murder? He tries calling Sophie for help, but she blocks his number, leaving him with no options. Meanwhile, this incident creates tension between Manohar and Simi. He's furious she didn't just kill Akash. Simi insists she isn't a serial killer and sends Manohar to finish the job. That night, the cop breaks into Akash's place and tries to strangle him. Akash fights back and escapes, injuring him in the process. But now, being truly blind, he struggles to navigate the neighborhood. The next morning, he wakes up in a hospital surrounded by Dr. Swami, rickshaw driver Murli, and the lottery ticket seller Saku. They found him on the streets the night before and brought him in. At Akash's request, Dr. Swami arranges an appointment with an eye specialist. His top priority is to check his eyes, and then leave the country. But hours pass, and no doctor arrives. Outside the room, Saku, Murli, and Dr. Swami discuss the money they expect to earn. They plan to sell Akash's organs on the black market, seeing him as an easy target with no family. As they strap him to a hospital bed, Akash overhears them discussing surgery and panics. They restrain him and sedate him, but before passing out, he mentions Saku's, Lord Shiva, tattoo on her arm. Shocked, because no one told him about the tattoo, they take it as a sign from God and abandon the plan. When Akash wakes up, he's informed about the organ trafficking plot. They ask if he's really blind. Akash confirms and offers them a better way to make money. He hopes they'll spare him if he can make them rich. He tells them everything about Manohar and Simi, how they killed her husband. He claims the murderers have 1,000,000 rupees, and suggests they blackmail them. Tempted by greed, the group agrees to help. Later, Simi returns home and is shocked to find Akash playing piano with Danny. Nervous he might expose everything, she quickly calls Manohar and asks him to meet somewhere. She offers to give Akash a ride, planning to take him to Manohar to kill him. On the way, Akash asks her for 10 lakh rupees to keep quiet and fund a cornea transplant. She refuses, unaware he has a backup plan. Murli's rickshaw blocks their path. While Simi is distracted, Akash sedates her. The group abducts her, planning to demand a hefty ransom from Manohar. Akash then calls Manohar's wife, Rasika, and tells her everything. She's asked to deliver 10 lakh rupees by the next day to keep her husband's reputation intact. Furious, Rasika threatens to kill Manohar, calming down only when he receives a call. The police have found Simi's car on a bridge, with her shoes and wallet left behind, suggesting she may have done something drastic. Rasika cools down and starts thinking of a way out. Meanwhile, Simi refuses to cooperate. To intimidate her, the doctor draws her blood and threatens to sell her kidney. Later that day, Manohar arrives with a suitcase full of money as ransom. Just as they are about to execute the next step of the plan, Saku and Murli betray Akash. They tie him to a chair and run outside, determined to execute their plan alone. They no longer trust Akash and want the entire money for themselves. Ironically, Akash and Simi end up locked in the same room as the other hostages. Simi laughs at how ridiculous it all is, calling him a loser. But Akash warns her that she should be the one afraid. At this point, she's nothing but a burden to Manohar. The easiest way for him to escape now would be to kill her. Meanwhile, the doctor is reviewing Simi's blood report. His expression changes as he notices something important. Without wasting time, he rushes to the hideout to meet her. Murli manages to grab the bag of money, but Manohar shoots him before he can escape. Saku panics. She traps the inspector inside the elevator, steals the bag, and rushes Murli to the hospital. But it's too late. He can't be saved. That's when she also discovers the money is fake. At the hideout, Simi frees herself from the ropes and attacks Akash, trying to kill him. But Dr. Swami intervenes. A struggle follows, and they manage to knock her out. The doctor stuffs her in the car trunk and drives off to Mumbai with Akash. On the way, he reveals a shocking detail. Simi has a BRH negative blood group, an extremely rare type. A billionaire's daughter urgently needs a liver from someone with her blood type. Selling Simi's liver could earn him over 50 million. Akash can take half of it and even pay for a cornea transplant to regain his sight. But the idea of killing Simi for her liver doesn't sit well with him. Suddenly, the story jumps 2 years ahead. Sophie is on a vacation in Europe, living carefree and trying to forget her past with Akash. But the past finds her. Outside a pub, she spots a poster featuring Akash. He's playing the piano, just as he once dreamed. Sophie confronts him. Akash opens up and tells her everything. In a flashback, we see Akash and Dr. Swami driving toward Mumbai with Simi in the trunk. The doctor stops to give her another dose of tranquilizer, but she attacks and kills him. Simi then forces Akash out of the car and tries to run him over. Just as she's about to hit him, a gunshot echoes, the same sound heard at the film's beginning when a farmer tried to shoot a hare. That hare jumps onto the windshield, causing Simi to swerve and crash. She dies instantly. Akash survives, takes the next bus to Mumbai, and eventually moves to London with help from a friend. Since then, he's been working at the pub, playing piano. He invites Sophie to one of his performances, but she has a flight the next morning. They promise to stay in touch and part ways. In the final scene, Akash walks down the street and kicks a can. The moment leaves us wondering, can he actually see?